Listen carefully, dear all students. What is Hess law and what is the importance of this Hess law? Okay, this Hess law is one important applications of first law of thermodynamics only. Okay, Hess law means, for example, a chemical reaction is taking place. Either you have to carry out a chemical reaction in a single step or in multiple steps, but the amount of heat absorbed or released in a chemical reaction or in a system is equal to same. Means let's see the definition. Heat energy released or absorbed in a reaction is same. Heat energy is released or absorbed in a chemical reaction. It releases heat or absorbs heat is same whether the reaction is taking place in a single step or in multiple steps. Multiple steps means it may be in the 2 steps, or it may be in 3 steps, or it may be in the 4 steps. The total amount of heat absorbed or released in 4 steps is equals to, in 4 steps, is equals to total amount of heat absorbed or released in a single step is known as a Hess law. Is known as a Hess law. Okay, students. So Hess law means a chemical reaction is taking place in a single step or in several steps. The amount of heat absorbed or released is same. The amount of heat absorbed or released is same whether the reaction is taking place in a single steps or in a multiple steps or in several steps. Okay, according to this Hess law, heat energy released or absorbed. This heat energy released or absorbed depends on initial and final states only, but not on the path of the reaction. But does not depends on the path of the reaction. Okay. Hess law is applicable for both physical and chemical changes. Means it is applicable for both physical changes as well as chemical changes. Hess law is an application of first law of thermodynamics or law of conservation of energy. It is the application of law of conservation of energy. Okay, students, listen carefully. Hess law is already we have discussed the first law of thermodynamics is also known as a law of conservation of energy. So the energy is neither created or not destroyed. It is converted into one form to another form. So in the same way, whether the chemical reaction takes place in a single step or in several steps, how much amount of heat absorbed or released either in a single step is equal to the multiple steps. Is equal to the multiple steps. That is known as a Hess law. Okay, let's see the application. The statement I will give, I will explain with the help of one example. For example, this Hess law, what they are saying, listen carefully, dear students. Now A is converted into D. This is the chemical reaction. It is takes place in single step. It is in a single step. A is converted into D in single step. During this single step, the amount of heat released or absorbed, delta H, if maybe the absorbed energy is equals to Q. Okay, you have to think it is a Q or Q1 or Q. Now this reaction takes place in several steps. For example, A is converted into B first. During this conversion, A is converted into B. The amount of heat delta H1 is equals to Q1. Okay. Again, that B is converted into C. During this step, the amount of heat absorbed, the delta H2 is equals to Q2. And again, C is converted into D. This is the, in this step, the delta H3 is equals to Q3. Okay. Now, if you observe that the conversion of A into D in a single step, during the single step, the amount of heat absorbed is Q, and several steps means 1, 2, 3 steps it is also taking place. Means A is converted into B and B is converted into C and C is converted into D. Okay. So during these steps, delta H is equals to delta H1 plus delta H2 plus delta H3. Asla, that is only they said. So a chemical reaction, in a chemical reaction, heat absorbed or released. A chemical reaction takes place in a single step or in multiple steps. The amount of heat absorbed or released is same. Means in a single step, how much amount of heat absorbed? That Q is equal to the amount of heat absorbed in several steps is equal to the sum of the amount of heat absorbed in several steps. that delta H is equals to delta H1 plus delta H2 plus delta H3. So during this step, the amount of heat absorbed is Q is equal to sum of the amount of heat absorbed in several steps. Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3 is known as a Hess law. Now, this is a common example. Okay, now I'll take one example, the formation of carbon dioxide from graphite. Let's see carefully, dear students, that graphite means carbon. Graphite. Okay, students, this graphite directly combined with oxygen and converted into carbon dioxide. This is a single step. During this single step, that released heat is 393.5 kilojoules per mole. Now this reaction is going in several steps. First one is that carbon is on partially oxidized reaction with half mole of O2 gas and forms carbon monoxide gas. This carbon monoxide gas, during this step, it released heat is delta H1. And again it will be oxidized to gives carbon dioxide. This is the step 2. Step 2 this means it is takes place in indirectly in 2 steps. During these 2 steps, how much amount of heat released? The sum of the amount of heat released in 2 steps is equal to sum of the amount of heat released in a single step. Both are equal. Okay, delta H2 is also equal. Okay, students, let's see example. For example, carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide means graphite combined with oxygen is converted into CO2 gas in a single step. In that case, delta H is equals to minus 393.5 kilojoules. Heat energy is released. Now it is indirectly taking place in single step. This is okay. Next, in several steps. The several steps that graphite first partial oxidized to gives carbon monoxide gas. In this case, the delta H1 is equals to minus 110.5 kilojoules. Means delta H is negative, means it releasing heat. How much energy is released, dear students? 110.5 kilojoules energy is released. Again, this carbon monoxide react with oxygen. Half mole of oxygen gas convert into CO2. Final product is formed. In that case, delta H is 283 kilojoules. Energy is released. Now delta H1 plus delta H2 is equals to 393.5. Then delta is equals to delta H. Therefore, delta H is equals to delta H1 plus delta H2. Hence, Hess law is proved. So, what is Hess law? They said, dear students, the amount of heat released or absorbed is same whether the reaction is takes place in a single step or in several steps. For example, this C carbon dioxide formation is takes place in single step. In this case, the energy released is 393.5 kilojoules. Energy is released. In the same way, the carbon dioxide formation is taking place in several steps. Like 2 steps, it is formed, and in the 2 steps, how much energy is released? It is equal to the single step energy released. That is known as a Hess law. That's why Hess law is also called is the application of first law of thermodynamics. It is also called law of conservation of energy. It is also called a law of conservation of energy. Okay, students, listen carefully. Now, this is about example. One example for Hess law, formation of carbon dioxide. Now, based on this Hess law, what are the important applications or importance of Hess law? We need to discuss. Okay, Hess law importances. Let's listen carefully, dear students. Hess law. Mainly this Hess law means amount of heat released or absorbed we can calculate Either the reactions are taking place in slow reactions. So it is used to determine the heat of reactions which are slow, or it is useful to determine the heat of formation of intermediates. Actually, intermediates are unstable. These intermediates are unstable and cannot be isolate, or cannot be separate out, or cannot be extract. Such type of intermediates, how much amount of heat releasing or heat forming, that also we can determine by using Hess law. Okay, because the intermediates formation steps means step 1, step 2, step 3, like that we can calculate whether the reaction we can carry it out in several steps. During that several steps, each step we can calculate the amount of heat released or absorbed, we can calculate. That's why intermediates heat absorbed or heat released we can calculate, but that intermediates cannot isolate. Okay, Hess law is useful to determine the amount of heat of intermediate compounds, or Hess law is useful to determine the amount of heat for slow reactions, and Hess law is used to determine the amount of heat of combustion reactions or combustion of substances. And Hess law is also useful to determine the lattice energy of ionic compounds. Ionic compounds lattice energy we can calculate by using Hess law. So that calculation method has been given by Born-Haber scientist. That's why that Born-Haber cycle. So lattice energy is indirectly calculated by using Born-Haber cycle. That Born-Haber cycle working is the application of Hess law. Born-Haber cycle is the working of application of Hess law. Born-Haber cycle. While we are discussing that chemical bonding chapter, lattice energy we are discussed. There I said one point, lattice energy of ionic compounds calculated indirectly by using Born-Haber cycle. This Born-Haber cycle main principle is Hess law. So Hess law is useful to calculation of amount of heat absorbed or released for the formation of ionic compounds, or formation of lattice energy we can calculate. Okay students, this is about Hess law and examples and important applications of Hess law. Let's see, next one is spontaneous process. Spontaneous process. What is meaning of spontaneous process? Spontaneity means whether the chemical reactions are two types, spontaneous process and non-spontaneous process. For example, driving forces are more than opposing forces. Whether the reaction is irreversible reaction, those irreversible reactions all are spontaneous reactions, I said. Okay students, spontaneous process, spontaneity. Spontaneity means if any chemical reactions are occurring and without using any external force, such type of reactions are called as a spontaneous process. Spontaneous process means a process which happens by itself in a particular direction, without involvement of any external agency. Okay, for example, some of the chemical reactions are taking place, or some type of changes, either physical change or chemical change, whatever it may be occurring, is that occurs or happens without using any external force or external agency. Such kind of reactions are called as a spontaneous process or spontaneous reactions. Okay, remember that spontaneity means we no need to use any external pressure, without using any external agency. If the reaction is happens, the reaction is takes place, such type of process are called as a spontaneous process. Spontaneous process. For example, in nature, so many spontaneous processes are taking place. For example, flow of heat always from higher temperature to lower temperature, and we are not using any external force or any external agents. That's why this flow is spontaneous itself occurring. That's why it is example for spontaneous process. Or flow of water from high level to lower level, or flow of gas from higher pressure region to low pressure region, and all natural process are spontaneous process. These all are naturally occurring process only. Heat flows from high temperature to lower temperature. Water flows from higher level to lower level. Or gas flows from high pressure region to low pressure region. These all are naturally occurring process and belongs to spontaneous process. This spontaneous process is thermodynamically irreversible process. Irreversible process means it is taking place in a single direction only. The spontaneous reactions are taking place in a single direction. Such type of reactions are called as irreversible. Okay, reversible is not happens, man. So spontaneous process are irreversible process only. Irreversible process only. Okay. Now, what are the important driving forces are affecting on spontaneity? Are factors, important factors affecting on spontaneous process, are driving forces present in spontaneous process. So there are mainly two important driving forces or factors present in spontaneous process, that is enthalpy, means change in enthalpy is delta H, and entropy. What is entropy and all we need to discuss. Enthalpy already we are discussed. Entropy, change in the entropy symbol is delta S. Okay students, these are the main two important factors or driving forces affecting on spontaneous process. So during the spontaneous process, for every system tends to achieve, in spontaneous process what happens, ma, the system tends to achieve minimize their energy. Minimizing their energy means the enthalpy, the delta H is equals to negative. Minimizing the energy means what happens, system loss energy. If the system loss energy means delta H is equals to negative. Minimizing the energy and the system to achieve maximum randomness. Maximum randomness means delta S is equals to positive. That is called randomness, is called as entropy. The randomness is called as a entropy. Okay, so the delta S is positive. Okay, that yes, ma, listen carefully. What is entropy and all important formulas, that further next concept we will discuss. Up to that, just you have to remember, during the spontaneous process mainly two driving forces are affecting. One is one is in a system to achieve minimizing their energy. Minimizing the energy means how it minimize their energy, by loss of energy, then enthalpy change is negative, and to achieve maximum randomness. Maximum randomness means delta S, change in the entropy is positive. Change in the entropy is positive, and both enthalpy and entropy are the two independent factors, independent with each other. They both acts in the same direction. Sometimes they may be in the same direction or in the opposite direction in spontaneous process. So during the spontaneous process, mainly affecting on enthalpy change and entropy change. These both are independent, and these both may be in the same direction or maybe in the opposite direction in spontaneous process. So these two quantities, enthalpy change and entropy change, both quantities present in a single quantity, is known as Gibbs free energy. Gibbs free energy, that is Gibbs free energy symbol is G, and change in the Gibbs free energy, delta G is equals to delta H minus T delta S. Okay ma, what is the relation between Gibbs free energy change and enthalpy change and entropy change? That also Gibbs free energy in the further class we will discuss. Delta delta G is equals to delta H minus T delta S. Already I said for spontaneous process, always Gibbs free energy, always delta G decreases, means it is negative. When it becomes negative, delta G becomes negative, means delta H is negative always, and delta S is positive. If positive, negative into positive, again negative will come, this is negative, and total value will becomes a negative. Total value will becomes a negative. So for spontaneous For spontaneous process, always Gibbs free energy change will be decreases. Delta G is negative. Such process is always spontaneous. During the spontaneous process, delta H is negative and delta S is positive. Already I said above only. What are the driving forces for spontaneous process? Enthalpy and entropy. Enthalpy is negative and entropy is positive. And relation between delta G and delta H and delta S is delta H minus T delta S. If it is negative and it is positive, then delta G is also becomes negative. Okay, students, you have to remember that point. Then delta G is negative means this process is always spontaneous. You have to think in your mind always only one thing. Gibbs free energy change is decreases means delta G is negative, then the process is always spontaneous. Okay, and the spontaneity process is mainly depends on delta H and delta S. Delta H and delta S. Okay. Next, entropy. What is entropy? Entropy is nothing but entropy is the measurement. Entropy is nothing but it is the measurement of degree of disorderness. It is the measurement of degree of disorderness or randomness. Disorder means randomness, means randomly arranged, then the system has more entropy. Randomness of particles or molecules of a system is called entropy. It is denoted by S. Okay. And entropy is depends on pressure and temperature of the system. It depends on pressure and temperature of the system. And we know that entropy S is depends on initial and final state. That's why it is state function and it is a extensive property. It is extensive property. It is difficult to define the exact value of entropy of the system, but we can calculate the change of entropy. Means delta S we can calculate. Okay, but exact value of entropy we cannot calculate like internal energy or enthalpy. Okay, students. Now the change of entropy, the change of entropy of a system is equals to delta final minus initial. Delta S is equals to delta S of final minus initial, or for a chemical reaction delta S of products minus delta S of reactants. For reversible isothermal process, the entropy change formula is equals to the amount of heat absorbed by the system by temperature. T means absolute temperature in a Kelvin scale. Absolute temperature in a Kelvin scale. Okay. So the delta S, how to calculate change of entropy in reversible isothermal process, dear students. In reversible isothermal process, if the system absorbed heat or released heat, Q in reversible process means amount of heat absorbed by the temperature. The temperature we have to take in a Kelvin scale. Q by T. Always entropy, this entropy S for gaseous molecules are more disorderness or more randomness is present. That's why gases having more than liquids and then solids. So the total entropy change, because for example, this is called system and the remaining part is surroundings. The remaining part is surroundings. Now the entropy is changes from system to surroundings or surroundings to system. Then the total entropy change, it is called this system plus surroundings. It is called a universe. This universe entropy change, our total entropy change is equals to delta S of system plus delta S of surroundings. Now in reversible process, let's listen carefully, dear students. The entropy is always increases for irreversible process only, because the randomness is in moving in single direction. If again it will came back, means what happened? The randomness will be decreases. So in reversible process means forward and backward both will be takes place. That's why the total delta S total or delta S universe is equals to 0. Universe is equals to 0. But in irreversible process, the delta S total or universe always positive. Always positive means always increases. If always positive means it is a spontaneous process. Spontaneous process. Okay, students, you have to remember. Next, that points only I said. For reversible process, that entropy, total entropy change or entropy of the universe is equals to 0. But in irreversible process, the total entropy change in the universe is always positive, means entropy of the universe increases for spontaneous process. Now at absolute temperature means 0 kelvins or minus 273 degrees Celsius temperature. The entropy of pure perfect crystal is 0. Means if any at 0 kelvins temperature or minus 273 degrees Celsius temperature, that much lower temperature, you have to take any solid material. Then that material exists as a perfect crystal. And if perfect crystals are exist at absolute temperature only, at that temperature the perfect crystal entropy is 0. Entropy is 0. S is equals to 0 at absolute temperature 0 kelvins. Absolute temperature 0 kelvins. You have to remember. What is standard entropy? Standard entropy means the entropy of substance is expressed or measured. The entropy of substance is expressed or measured at 298 kelvins, means 25 degrees centigrade temperature and 1 atmospheric pressure. Means these are standard conditions. What are the standard conditions? Standard conditions of a reaction. You have to remember this point. Of reaction is temperature is 25 degrees centigrade temperature and pressure is equals to 1 atmospheric pressure. Under these conditions, entropy we are measuring in a chemical reaction is known as a standard entropy. If enthalpy are measured, then it is called standard enthalpy. And Gibbs free energy you have to measure, and it is called standard Gibbs free energy change. Whatever it may be, that is called standard conditions. Those standard conditions upside they are represented by small 0, s power 0 like. That is called standard entropy. If for example delta S 0 means it is standard entropy change. So for a chemical reaction, standard entropy change is equals to sigma entropy change of products minus sigma entropy change of reactants. Means sigma means sum of the entropies of all products under standard conditions. Sigma minus sigma means sum of the entropies of all reactants is known as a standard entropy change. Means always standard entropy change is equals to sigma S naught of products minus sigma S naught of reactants. Okay, so always entropy change means product minus reactants or final minus initial. That you have to remember. Standard conditions means power 0, means at 25 degrees centigrade temperature and 1 atmospheric pressure, that entropy we are measuring, then it is called standard entropy. Okay students, now listen carefully. Some important entropy changes during the phase transformation. Phase transformation means one state is converted into another state. One is entropy of fusion. Fusion means solid is converted into liquid. Solid is converted into liquid at particular temperature is called melting point. During this change, Entropy of fusion means the change of entropy when 1 mole of solid is changes to liquid at melting point is known as fusion. That entropy of fusion is equals to delta H, amount of heat. Means delta H means enthalpy of fusion. Means enthalpy of fusion means it is the particular temperature at which solid is converted into liquid. That is called enthalpy of fusion by melting point temperature. And enthalpy of vaporization means liquid is converted into vapors. That is called the temperature is called boiling point temperature. Then enthalpy of vaporization is equals to delta H vaporization by temperature. Okay. Next, enthalpy of sublimation. Next, third one is enthalpy of sublimation. Delta S sublimation is equals to delta H sublimation by temperature. Okay, these are the changes of phase transformation. Enthalpy change during the phase transformation. Listen carefully. For example, sorry, entropy changes, not enthalpy. Entropy of sublimation means the change of entropy when 1 mole of solid is converted into directly vapors. Solid is directly converted into vapors or in gaseous state. That is called sublimation. During this sublimation process, the entropy change delta S sublimation is equals to delta H sublimation, the amount of temperature required for the sublimation, that is called delta H by temperature. Okay, so this entropy phase transformations are 3 types.